You really don't need your life to change. You just need the tools and support to change how you experience the life that you have. You're listening to Overwhelmed Working Woman, the podcast that helps you be more calm and more productive by doing less. I'm your host, Michelle Gauthier, a former overwhelmed working woman and current life coach. On this show, we unpack the stress and pressure that today's working woman experiences. And in each episode, you'll get a strategy to bring more calm, ease, and relaxation to your life. Hi, friend. Thanks for joining today. If you've listened to this podcast for a while, you've definitely heard me mention The Good Life, my group coaching program. But maybe you're wondering, what exactly is it? How does it work? How many people are in it? And most importantly, does it actually help? What kind of results do people get from being in the group? So today I'm just taking the time to do a podcast episode to break down everything, why I created it, who it's for, what kind of results you can expect, and whether you're just curious or seriously considering it. This episode will help you understand more about group coaching in general and about this program specifically. So first of all, if this is a group you think you might like to join, the timing is perfect. Registration is open right now. If you're listening to this later on, so I'm recording this in May of 2025. If you're listening to this after May of 2025 and registration is closed, you can still go to the link in the show notes and get on the wait list, because I offer this usually about 3 or 4 times a year. So it will always be opening again if this sounds interesting to you. Let's start with why I created The Good Life. Okay, so I started coaching women in 2018. I do have a whole episode about my story of how I got there, but I'm not going to cover that now. And so many people came to me. And what I noticed over time is that so many of the women, I've literally coached hundreds of women since that time. So many of these women came to me and said, I used to be able to manage it all, and now I'm completely overwhelmed. So the women who I work with are usually overachievers, hard workers, action takers, and they have always been able to handle a lot. And at some point in their life, they just reach the, I can't do this anymore, continually being this overwhelmed and under this much pressure. Even though I can technically do it, I'm not enjoying or feeling present anywhere. So over time, I'm coaching all these women, and I do my one-on-one coaching for 6 months, and I'm noticing these trends where I'm teaching them all really similar things and really similar tools. So what I did when I decided to create this group coaching was take everything that I teach my one-on-one clients, everything that they need to know, and then put together a group program that included all of those. Another thing I noticed is that women always think they're the only one. Lots of times people will say to me, I look at all these other women at my office and they're somehow just handling this, and I feel like I'm the only one who can't handle it. That is never true, but that is what we often think. So the combination of, I know all these tools that I'm teaching these women in one at a time, and the power of women being in a group and encouraging each other. Let me tell you at a high level what you learn inside the Good Life group coaching. We start off by assessing your whole life. So we use something called the Wheel of Life, and we take a look at every area of your life, and you'll note how satisfied you are with each area of your life. That really helps you get clear on the areas of your life in which you really want to make a change. So sometimes I'll have clients who are having like a really hard time in their marriage, for example, but work is going just fine. Sometimes everything feels tough. Sometimes things at home are pretty good, but work is a disaster. So it just helps you understand which areas you want to focus on. So once you have a good handle on that, then we will switch and we will start dreaming of what is your future ideal day. You do a guided meditation, you create a vision board, you get into the mindset of what do I want my life to look like. After you've got that, we get to work on learning every single tool you need to go from your life assessment where it is today to where you want your life to be. So you will learn tools about mindfulness, how to change the way that you're thinking to get different results in your life. You'll learn how to set a boundary, say no, stop people pleasing. Use gain thinking, which means focusing on the positive instead of the negative things, how to talk to yourself more kindly, how to take better care of yourself, etc. So throughout the course of the 12 weeks, you learn literally every skill that you need in order to create that calm life that you are dreaming of. Tactically, this is how it works. You get a video every week. It's a recorded video that you can watch anytime you want. Normally, they're between 5 and 8 minutes. I think the longest one is 20 minutes, and that's just one of the weeks. Then you get this beautiful workbook that you use to journal in and write down your answers to whatever you're learning that week. So if you're learning about people pleasing, there are some questions related to people pleasing, where it shows up in your life. Then you practice setting a boundary in your journal. So throughout the week, you're doing this homework. It usually takes about an hour. Then on Friday, you would come to group coaching. In group coaching, we would talk a little bit about the topic of the week, and then I will just ask you questions. Where are you stuck? Who needs help with this? Who maybe felt triggered by this lesson? Who really struggles with this one? So I will coach you in the live session if you have a question or you feel stuck somewhere. Another great thing is when you're in group coaching, listening to somebody else's question often makes you realize, oh, I actually had that question too, but I didn't realize it. And I also needed that advice, or I needed that coaching. That's my favorite part about group coaching, is that it's sort of that together we rise concept. Somebody shares something and then it can apply to everybody in the group. So you're always learning and encouraging and being encouraged. Speaking of, that's the fourth part of it, is the private Facebook group that we have with everyone who's in the group. So in there you share your wins or your frustrations, where you need encouragement or help, or you're asking for suggestions. So you never feel like you're doing this alone. You're supported by other women who really want the same thing as you do. At the end of 12 weeks, you'll have your workbook all filled out. You will have had the experience of learning all these tools, which you can go back and access anytime. But even years later, clients will tell me, I still remind myself to talk to myself like I would talk to my best friend, just like you taught us. Or I still use the love and fit test to decide when I want to say yes or no. So the things that you learn will stick with you. Over time, women who've gone through the good life have shared that at the end of the 12 weeks, things like, I finally feel calm again. I can say no without guilt. I don't feel like I'm drowning in my own life anymore. I actually like myself again. So if you want to hear what this looks like in real life, just scroll back and listen to a couple of these episodes. So episode 62 is my client Carrie's story. She was feeling overwhelmed and unfulfilled at work, but she learned how to set boundaries and shift her mindset and letting other people control her happiness. And she didn't change her job, but she changed everything about how she experienced her job. And it was so much better. Episode 64 is Marcy's story. She came in feeling completely stuck and overwhelmed by decisions about what to do during a big life transition. And she got clear on what mattered, learned how to say no without guilt, and started spending her time in ways that felt aligned and meaningful instead of just feeling overwhelmed all the time. Courtney's story is episode 66. She used to feel like she was barely holding it together. She says in the episode that she was always on the brink of tears and that she was constantly overwhelmed and just one small thing away from falling apart. So in the group, she learned how to stop spinning, stop feeling overwhelmed, create time for herself, and finally feel calm and in control again. So take a lesson to all three of those or any of those. And there's also a new episode coming. Number 142 will be Jessie's story of what she achieved during group coaching. Okay, so to wrap it up, what you get in group coaching is 12 weeks of structure and support, one short video lesson each week, a workbook to apply what you learn, a live weekly coaching session with me to get unstuck, and then a private group for encouragement and connection. You really don't need your life to change. You just need the tools and support to change how you experience the life that you have. Everything can feel so much better. And that's exactly what this program gives you. So like I said, registration is open now. Click on the link in the show notes for all the info. If you have more questions or you'd rather talk to me about it before signing up, the links to send me a DM or DM me on Instagram, or you can set up a 15-minute session with me too. All right, have a great weekend. Thanks for listening.